All right, Andrew, hit us with that Sift Spoil theme song for the week.
Some pirates stand in the water, afraid to step onto the land.
Yeah.
And Jack Sparrow's drunk, and Barbossa's Karina's dead.
I love how you've started like giving the big spoilers in the song itself.
Yeah.
That always makes me happy. Well, welcome to the Sift Spoil. We're going to Sift Spoil mostly pirates. I don't know that we really have much to spoil with Baywatch.
It's just so cookie cutter, you can't spoil anything.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to go into there. We may touch on it. Thanks for joining us. We do like to have the Sift Spoil theme song be different every week, so at least something will be a surprise.
Yeah.
If you have not, A, seen the movies we're talking about, or B, listened to the podcast proper, the podcast proper,
That
where we
wily
talk
old
about
podcast, Papa.
where we talk about these reviews. Make sure you do that first. We're going to be jumping all over the place. We're not going to assume that you haven't seen the movie, so we're not going to fill in the blanks. So hopefully you've seen it. Also, because we don't want to spoil it for you. So, and we're also not going to go back and touch on things we already touched on in the actual review in the podcast. So, this is an addendum, as it were, an addendum. What do you want to addendum? Anything about Baywatch before we get into pirates?
No, that I can think of. Not really.
No, there's really nothing, is there?
No, I mean,
the main plot is so basic. It's just a very basic villain who is selling drugs on their beach, and they go after the villain.
Do you think that in Baywatch they
she gets
didn't
blown
want
up
to
by
try
a firework?
Yeah, she was blown into pieces by a firework.
Yeah.
Do you think that they didn't want to be their own original thing, and because it felt like just an extended episode of Baywatch?
At parts it did, but at parts it was, they went with a more cheesy, goofy, kind of thing than Baywatch was.
Yeah.
Obviously Baywatch wasn't like goofy, raunchy humor like that.
No, but I mean like a basic premise for every single episode. Like the premise itself felt very like just a regular episode.
Yeah.
And, there was the two cameos. There was the Pam Anderson and the Hasselhoff.
Neither of which were all that interesting.
No. I mean, the Hasselhoff it was funny how they were both Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got a good chuckle of that. I will say this. The best part of Baywatch is the unique names that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson keeps coming up for Zac Efron. Just those little names, like those jabs he keeps throwing at him.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite part of the movie. They were all so funny.
My favorite of those was High School Musical.
Yeah, that was the best one. That one actually, that was, I think, the only time I laughed out loud hard.
Yeah. This movie, since we can get into details about the raunchiness of the humor, this movie spends, 10 minutes just on a penis joke, just because a penis is on screen and he has to look around a penis for something. It's like, that's not, maybe it's funny for a split second, but...
Somebody threw up in my theater.
During that scene?
No, during the dripping fat scene. Somebody threw up. Somebody in the back row threw up.
Oh, at least you weren't sitting in front of them.
No, I was near the front row.
Oh,
so yeah, they threw up.
That's no good.
So that's gonna wrap it up for Baywatch.
Yes, we obviously had all the important stuff. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about pirates. So here are the three main stories, as I see it, that I think should have been narrowed down to one.
Okay.
All right. Our main villain is Captain Salazar.
Which is Javier Bardem.
He's actually a British...
Spaniard.
Spanish captain trying to capture pirates who Jack, when he's very young, tricks into going into the Devil's Triangle, and so they are all like cursed to be in there. That's the one story, because that's a story between Salazar and Jack. Well, here's the thing. That story almost feels, even though he's supposed to be the central villain, it feels like the least important story of the three of them to me. The other two stories are two new characters, both looking for their fathers. One whose father turns out to be Barbossa. That's the girl.
Yeah.
And the other whose father is Orlando Bloom, who's cursed and under the sea, right?
Yeah. Henry and Karina.
And that Orlando Bloom thing also feels completely unnecessary. Like, if that were the central story and there were themes to go along with their relationship, and if Orlando Bloom was in the movie more, kind of through flashbacks or different things.
Instead of just the beginning and just the end.
Yeah.
Literally 3 minutes of screen time, if that.
Yeah. I feel like the only story that was serviced halfway well was the girl in Barbossa.
Yeah.
That was the one I connected to if I connected to any of the three of them.
If you cut out Henry's character, the movie doesn't change.
Yeah. But how sad is that the main quote-unquote villain is, we talked about it in the podcast review, it's just almost unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
But
how would you here's what they should have done. How could they have found a way to make Salazar central to her and Barbossa's story? You know what I mean? Like, make him a villain of their story.
What if he was the keeper of the trident?
Right.
Something,
or something
like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Where everything is focused in on one story with some really cool themes, that kind of push us through and give us the momentum. But there was just so much going on.
I'm just spitballing an idea here. What if he has the trident, and the trident is the only thing keeping him and his crew alive, and they're not trapped in the Devil's Triangle? This entire time they've been searching for Jack, and his entire goal before he dies is to kill Jack. And if they get the trident, they will, break all the curses. And I don't know how that would help with her and Barbossa. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was just spitballing an idea, but it didn't lead anywhere.
But if you could figure out a way, if you could figure out a way to make something like that work, I think you have a better movie. But as it is, you just didn't know where you were supposed to invest your emotional energy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I found the other big spoiler with the Barbossa storyline is he gives his life. We think. I mean, nobody's ever for sure dead. So what was the
post-credit scene? Did it have anything to do with Barbossa?
Had to do with Orlando Bloom.
Oh, okay.
So the post-credit scene is basically him and Keira Knightley, who came back for a good 20 seconds of screen time.
What a waste
for a big run and hug.
Yeah.
So which again,
it's a good thing that they have a son that's 25 years old and they look the exact same. I can understand maybe Orlando Bloom because
he's been cursed.
He's cursed, but she looks the exact same. And where has Jack Sparrow hasn't aged? Nobody's aged except the kids growing up to be like 25, 30-year-olds.
Right. So true. Anyways, the end is them laying in bed, him waking up from a dream. So it starts with the dream, which is a claw. You see a claw and like a dripping shadow walk into their room. And then he wakes up and that person's gone, and then it pans down and there's barnacles that have been left, by the bed. So I think we're supposed to believe that person's for real. I'm guessing that's what, Davy Jones, or who had the claw? Who my pirates lore is? No, like the lobster claw.
Oh, a lobster claw?
Yeah. Anyway, so, the insinuation being that's the next adventure. Orlando Bloom and Mr. Claw. It's the Claw.
Dr. Claw.
Claw's gonna get you.
Inspector Gadget.
Claw's gonna get you. So anyways, just saying, put all that central, and I think you have a much tighter film.
Yeah.
And it feels a little better in that way.
I have to get something off my chest about this movie.
That's why we do this.
The safe scene at the beginning of this, where there's 12 horses equal to 12 horsepower, is dragging a building through the streets like it's nothing.
I thought you were going to talk about how it's the Fast Five, rip-off dragging.
And I'm getting there. It's literally the Fast Five safe heist.
Except it's the whole building.
Except it's the entire building.
Right, yeah.
So,
and the stuff they did with the building was clever. Like, that was interesting stuff. Like, the way it finished up at the bridge, like, all that stuff, I found it, visually inventive.
And I found all the stuff with everybody calling her a witch annoying.
Yeah.
It didn't service any part of the story for me. Like,
especially because they're playing her as a woman of science.
Yeah.
But her whole journey is to abandon science for, curses and ghosts and...
Yeah. Which, I don't... Did you think the chemistry between her and Henry worked at all?
I didn't think it was bad, but I think it was great.
Maybe it's just that character. I think his name's Thwaites, the actor, but every film I've seen him in has been bad. He was in Gods of Egypt as well.
Ugh.
So, yeah, he's not got a good track record of films thus far.
Yeah.
But, man, I was hoping this could be a Pirates movie that, got me excited once again. I was really hoping.
It was, again, in the main review, I mentioned it. I think it's the best since the first, and it was enough that I'm like, you know what, maybe there's just something here and you just take it for what it is. But I mean, again, there's so much story problem with this movie that it's just boring. It just feels so, boring throughout until you get to those big scenes, like the dragging the bank through the streets. I thought was interesting. The guillotine scene was really clever. The idea that he was already locked into the guillotine when, they broke him out. And so he's swinging around and the guillotine blade is coming close to his neck and then gravity's pulling it back. And it's like, it's just really clever stuff. I really enjoyed that whole escape scene. I thought the splitting water stuff was really cool and visually interesting. The ship coming, dragging the anchor along the edge of the split water, I thought was really sweet.
I hated that. I really did.
Just the physics don't work for you?
No, the ridiculousness of that and the in the heist, it's the scenes like that really take me out of the movie.
But they're cool, right? I
don't think so.
Why are some of the... so again, this comes back to why can you look at something that's ridiculous like that in Fast Five and go, oh, but it's cool to, to drop those rules and just have fun with it, but you can't hear.
Maybe it's for the simple fact that parts of these movies do rely on physics and then others don't, where I think in the Fast films, they've just said no to physics altogether.
Say no to physics,
Say
kids.
no to physics. But I'm not talking about the mythological stuff in these movies, by the way.
Sure.
Like it was the figurehead, right, that came to life off of the ship that started attacking Johnny Depp. It was the big statue right at the front of the ship, the figurehead.
Yeah.
Okay, it was so dark I couldn't tell what it was.
Oh, okay.
So it was the figurehead, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw this giant monster, and I thought I remember seeing it kind of
come
crack
off the ship. Yeah.
Okay. So that was cool. The sharks, the half-dead sharks,
right?
They were fun.
Yeah. I mean, it made no sense.
Exactly.
The way when they decided to go after, it was like it was all convenient. It was like, oh, now they'll pull the boat because that needs to happen in the plot.
Yeah, because they got to get away somehow.
Yeah. But it was cool, and I really found the other effect I found really effective was the island that turned into a starry sky. When they started walking on that island and it almost looked like they were walking in space.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was really good. Visually, these movies have always been good to impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never looked at a Pirates movie and that looks so fake. I'm not talking about wire work because I accept wire work for what it is.
Sure.
I'm talking about really bad CGI. I've never said that about a Pirates movie. I think that they all do a very decent well, and that's because they have a Disney budget, and Disney puts a lot of money in the pirate movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. Why is Poseidon's trident so easy to break? It's Poseidon's trident.
Yeah.
And you can flick
man.
it. You can flick it with a sword, and it cracks in half.
Yeah, exactly.
That would seem very inconvenient for the god of sea.
Also, he gets Poseidon's trident. Salazar ends up getting it, and this controls the entirety of the universe of ocean.
It's this giant super soaker,
and he decides to use it just to, fling Johnny Depp around a little bit.
Yeah. Oh! Here's one of the biggest plot holes I have for this entire movie.
Sure.
So you're telling me this entire time he's had the ability to transfer his consciousness into other humans?
So Deus Ex Machina. It was just like, oh, the plot needs this now.
Yeah. But he's had that ability this entire time. He's been killing sailors. Why couldn't him and his entire crew jump into the bodies of the ships that they've been eating
and go on land?
I
know!
Yeah,
that was the worst. That was the absolute worst.
I'm done. I can't.
And also because I don't feel like it needed to be that way.
No.
You could have figured out a different way around that, more creative, more clever.
Yeah.
Than, well, I guess he has to be on land, so let's give him the ability to, inhabit people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so bad. Totally agree. Anything else?
No, I'm good. Unless
I like the way he interacts with his small crew. I think they have some fun moments.
Are you talking about Sparrow?
Sparrow. There's fun moments within that crew where the one captain's like, Hey, why don't you be the captain when he knows they're going to get
that
captured?
part is the only part of the entire movie I laughed out loud. Because it goes straight from, this is the greatest day of my life, to him getting the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
I felt so bad, but I couldn't help but laugh.
I thought that was played really well. It's like I said, there is some humor here that works. Johnny Depp still has some stuff that works. Some of his lines in his line readings are great. It was funny to think of, the reports of him having an in-ear monitor for his lines for the Pirates movies. Did you see that report?
Yeah.
It was fun for me a little bit to think that somebody was telling him his lines in his ear before he was acting them. I don't think you could tell if you didn't know that, though. It is what it is, but...
Exactly.
So...
How lazy do you have to be to pay somebody a bunch of money to
why
to
not,
read your...
though? If you can do it, why not?
I could think of so many better uses for that money.
Well, sure.
Memorize your lines,
I guess I didn't know.
dude.
Did he pay somebody a bunch of money to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that part.
No, it wasn't the studio. He paid them a lot of money because he didn't feel like memorizing his lines.
Listen, if you can do it well, and it doesn't show on screen.
So, do you think that he can never impress us again as Jack Sparrow?
I think he can continue to impress us the same amount he's impressing us now. And I think if it's wearing thin on you, it's going to continue to annoy you more. And I think if you accept it as enjoyable, then you can continue to enjoy it. I don't think it's going to change and get better, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm asking, do you think there will ever be a redemptive, like, this is this Jack Sparrow, the magic that I saw in the first movie? You don't think we'll ever see that again from him?
I don't think what he's doing now is much different than the magic of the first movie. I just think we're tired of it.
You think that's what it is?
It's just not fresh anymore.
So you don't think that there needs to be a character development that changes him, that would make him fascinating once again?
No.
You like him the way he is, even though it's the same?
Yeah, I do. Again, like I said, I like him as a court jester. I just like him being there during the story, falling down, getting in some of these, Rube Goldbergian action devices, and in tossing out one-liners that I think are funny. Like, I thought it was funny when he was watching them embrace at the end, and he was like, that's so disgusting," or whatever he said. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. That's funny stuff to me. So, I think that character is funny. I just think most people are tired of it.
Here's another thing I hate about the Pirates universe. Nobody stays dead. So there's no real ramifications. I don't think Barbossa's dead.
Well, but now that all the curses have been broken, if there's no curses, how do people,
start new curses?
Yeah. Well, there you go. I guess that's what you do.
Yeah.
Where are they going to be housed?
I don't know.
If you can't house the curses in the trident.
That's true. Maybe they'll put them in Neptune's scepter. The Roman god of the sea.
We just wrote Pirates 6.
Yeah.
Well done, Andrew.
That's why I'm here.
Well done. I think that's about it. I don't think there's anywhere else to go.
Yeah. I had fun talking with you about the movies.
Good. I think I had a little bit more fun than you. Again, I knew I would be defending it a little bit, even though I don't think it's, a great movie by any stretch. Just because I do think there's something there that's a little bit of, just let it exist for what it is. And, if people continue to love it, people continue to love it. My theater loved it. They had it seemed like, at least, they had a great time. So, we'll see.
We each liked the other movie more than the other person.
That's interesting. I felt almost identical about them. I maybe one half grade different, but yeah, I liked Pirates better than Baywatch, which I would have never have guessed going into this weekend.
I was the opposite. I liked
by about the same amount.
No, I think I have Pirates as my third or fourth worst.
So you like
movie
Baywatch quite a bit more than Pirates.
Yeah. I think I have Baywatch right below Power Rangers. So somewhere around there. To give you an idea of where because I liked Power Rangers.
Makes sense. Well, thanks for listening to the spoilers, guys. Sif Spoil happens every week. We'll be back to Sif Spoil Wonder Woman next week, hopefully. So you can stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you. You can check out all of our stuff at yourmoviefriend.com and Flick Freaks on YouTube and all the Twitters and all the socials and stuffs. Okay, bye.
You do real MVPs?